Morning, Momo. How are you today? Are you good? Do you want to play ball? Do you want to play ball? Okay, let's play. Ready? Go get it. What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? This is Bjorn coming to you from Eisei-en Bonsai Garden in Nashville, Tennessee. I know it's been a long time since we put out a vlog. As a matter of fact, I think the last vlog we put out was back in April, and we're coming up now on early August here. So I apologize for the delay. We've just been very busy at the nursery, despite having had to cancel all of our classes over the summer due to the COVID-19 situation. Now, what we're going to be doing at the nursery this week is working on a very special tree from a very special person with a very cool legacy. So I'm really excited to show you what that project is and take you through the steps of how I'm going to design this tree. But before we head over to the nursery, I got one thing I want to show you here on the back porch. So this right here is Momo's bed where she sleeps every night on the back porch. As you can see, she's got her collection of rocks and sticks down there. Now, every night before I go to bed, I actually take her bed and I dump all this stuff out in the yard. And every morning when I wake back up, she brings all this stuff back up here. So you can see she's got her little suiseki collection, Momo-style suiseki. She's got her sticks that she likes to play with. And then, of course, the bed is covered in the bark from the sticks that she's been chewing on all night. So I get mad at her, but, you know, how can you get mad at a cute little face like this? Right, Momo? Yeah, good puppy. All right, let's head over to the garden and check out the tree we're going to be working on today. Good morning. You shaved your head. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, did you do that yourself?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, God.
Let's take a look.
Cover your ears because I'm going to blow your brains out. Ta-da!
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
Looks nice.
Thank you.
Cool. Did you just do it with a Bic razor?
I just used my electric face shaver
Nice.
for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it didn't get the right length, so I just buzzed it up.
Oh, you look like a religious figure now.
I was thinking like a biker.
Yeah.
You know?
You gotta put on some more muscle for that.
Yeah. I'll just sit here today and lift this tree.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
All right, so the tree that we're going to be working on in this vlog is this guy right behind me here. This is a Pinus sylvestris, or Scots pine, and as a matter of fact, I actually featured this tree earlier this year in an episode of Bonsai U back in April, discussing how to do spring candle pruning on single flush pines. Now, before we take this into the workshop, I want to give you the background on this tree. I actually purchased this bonsai from Bill Valvanis of International Bonsai Arboretum up in Rochester, New York about 2 years ago. I was up in Rochester for the U.S. National Exhibition at that time. Bill invited me over to his nursery, saw this tree there, and I asked if I could purchase it from him, and he reluctantly said yes. So brought it back down here. We've had it down in Nashville for almost 2 years at this point. And as a matter of fact, the video that you saw of Bonsai U back in April, I actually filmed that in April of 2019, and I didn't release the video until April of 2020. So the growth that you see on the tree now is actually nearly 2 full growing seasons worth of growth, having done that spring candle pruning 2 years in a row. Now, what we're going to be doing in this episode is working on this tree, trying to keep Bill's initial design to some degree, but also taking the tree forward in its evolution to a new stage in its development. So I'm super excited to take this into the workshop. I think it's going to be a really fun project. So we're going to take it into the workshop and get started. Oh my God, it's hot in here. Okay, so this is the tree in the workshop here. Now you can see the silhouette of the tree. You can see all the structure of the tree a little bit better here with that white backdrop. Now, before we do anything to this tree, I want to tell you what's already been done to it since we brought it here to Eisei-en. So first and foremost, we repotted this tree into this container. It was actually potted in this container this spring, so about a year and a half after I brought it down to Eisei-en. The original pot was chipping and cracking a little bit. It was just a modern Chinese pot, sort of medium quality, so it was getting a little bit older and starting to fall apart. So I wanted to put it in this slightly higher quality modern Chinese pot. Second thing we did to it was actually remove these 2 large branches right here. Now originally I just took a Sawzall and hacked those off flat, but in a subsequent class here at Eisei-en, in one of our intensive classes, one of our good students, Jason Stewart, actually worked on creating the gins down here and turning them into much more aesthetically pleasing pieces of dead wood. Now, the reason that I cut these lower branches off to begin with is because if you go out in nature and look at large old trees, a majority of the lower branches on those trees will have died off over time. This is just a natural process of an apically dominant tree, which is what most of the plants that we work with in bonsai are. Their apexes are going to be stronger than the lower branches on the tree. So in nature, those lower branches would shed, die off, fall off, break off, turn into gins. And by the way, a gin or a jin is a piece of dead wood branch, essentially. Now, with that, of course, the apex would go stronger and taller, and over time, it would get broader and wider. So the older the tree, the broader, wider, flatter, rounder the apex is going to be. So this tree has all of those characteristics now that we've cut off those lower branches. It looks older, it feels older, it's got that big broad canopy to it, and it's looking like a very old, powerful pine, maybe on the coast or just slightly inland. So this tree actually reminds me a lot of some of the big Japanese black pines that I would see along the coastlines in Japan, or again, just slightly inland from the sea. So I want to keep that in mind while we're designing this tree. I want to keep that big broad canopy, but I also want to drop some of those upper branches down a little bit, pull things in a little bit tighter, and expose the trunk and make it feel quite a bit larger and fatter. Now, with that being said, the next step here is going to be to remove some of the larger branches that I don't think are going to work in the design. Now, first and foremost, on the far left side of the tree over here, this branch in this area right here is protruding, in my opinion, too far outside of the desired silhouette, or what I want the silhouette to be on this tree when we complete it. Sticks out too far, it's a little too heavy to crank down and in, and it's just in a weird position altogether. So that's one branch that I'm gonna go ahead and hack off. We're also gonna take a look at this area over here. A lot of these branches feel quite heavy, so I'm gonna go through and remove some of the excess branching in these areas, and then we can start the wiring process on the tree. So first things first, let's cut off what we don't need. All right, now that we've removed the branch on the far left side there, it brings that side of the canopy in just a little bit more, and I think that looks more concise, tight, and even a bit older as well. Particularly once we start dropping those lower branches down, it'll make a bit more sense. Now, on the right side of the tree over here, we've got a lot of branching going on in this area. This branch right here in particular, right in the front, looks good where it's sitting right now, but it comes out at an awkward position here, and it's actually quite long and leggy. We do have some branching a little bit further off to the right here that can be dropped down and in to replace this. So this is one of those situations where I was kind of 50-50 on whether or not I should take it off, but after kind of manipulating things around a little bit by hand just to see where things might fit, I think it's going to make more sense to actually remove this right here and replace it with this growth here. Again, taking branches from above, dropping them down, pulling them in a little bit tighter, it'll make the trunk look fatter and thicker, and the tree will look older overall as well. So I think that's going to be a good move to cut this off, so let's do that next. So one thing that I've learned over the years working on bonsai, particularly having done an apprenticeship in Japan, is the idea of less is more when it comes to applying wire to trees, particularly to conifers, and especially to older conifers that are really well developed, like the sylvestris that we're working on in this episode here. So when I first started my apprenticeship in Japan, one of the things that my Oyakata Fujikawa-san taught me was to wire every branch. So the idea was to understand the mechanics of wiring, how to apply the wire, how to set branches exactly where you wanted them to be. And then over time, the goal was to learn how to subtract that wire, how to take wire away, not necessarily necessarily from that tree you just applied the wire to, but in future styling. So in other words, applying less wire to get the same results as you did when you wired every single branch. So with this tree that I'm working on today, that's my goal, is to use very little wire to accomplish a refined look. Now I'm going for sort of a refined but natural type look, so I'm not looking for, super flat pads on the underside. I do want them nice and clean, but I want them to have a little bit of a lift to them. It's going to give the tree an older, weightier, heavier appearance, which is exactly what I want for a tree like that with such a big trunk. So this is something you see in trees at the Kokufu, for example, or the Taikon 10 in Japan, or even some of the major exhibitions in Europe and even in the States now as well. People moving a little bit more towards that understanding of less is more when it comes to applying wire. So next step is going to be to wire this bad boy up, and then we're going to start setting the branches. Oh, and by the way, we've got some new merch up on our website. We've got this cool cross design with the tools on it. So if you're interested in buying those, I'll put the link in the description down below. Yours will come with less sweat, of course, than mine has on it right now, but they're a good quality shirt, and we really appreciate you guys supporting us here at Eisei-en by buying some of our merch. So definitely click on that link in the description. All right, so this is the Pinus sylvestris, or Scots pine, after I've detail wired it up and styled it out. So you can tell, not a massive difference from beginning to end, but the goal again was to use as little wire as possible, use the features of the tree that were already there, all of that nice ramification, the nice dome shape to the top, and sort of incorporate that into this refined but natural look to the tree. Now the goal with this plant is in 1 year from now to put this in the US National Show up in Rochester, New York. I want to do it for a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously it's a cool tree, so I think it would fit well into the exhibition. But number two, Bill Valvanis runs that show up there, the US National, so I'm looking forward to taking this back up there, showing it to Bill so he can see what it looks like in person, and hopefully he likes what we've done to it at Eisei-en here over the last couple of years. We're also going to be featuring this tree in a written article for Bill's magazine, International Bonsai Magazine, coming up in the next year or so, so definitely be on the lookout for that. You can see the whole process from beginning to end, how we brought it down to Eisei-en, cut off the original branches, and then styled it to what you see right now. Hope you guys liked this episode of the vlog. If you like what we do here, make sure you like and subscribe down below. And if you want to support us monetarily, you can click on that donation button in the description box. It'll bounce you over to my website and you can donate whatever you like to support Bonsai U and our vlog series going forward. Once again, thank you so much for checking out this episode, and we'll see you guys next time around. Take care.